Hi, welcome back to Yarn Equals Joy, podcast episode number 9. And if you are new, thanks so much for checking me out. And this is just a little simple podcast about my knitting and yarn indulgences and all sorts of things like that. I have an Etsy shop that is sort of inactive but has some cool bags in it at the moment called Joan Mag Bags. And then I am Rachely Book Girl on Instagram and Rachely on Ravelry. So I think that's it for all the shenanigans. I'm going to make sure it wasn't upside down because I did that once already. I don't want to do that again. Okay. Happy Easter to those of you who celebrate, and happy Passover to those of you who celebrate that. I'm in the Passover variety, so we had a lovely Seder at my sister's house Friday night, and for the remaining days I will be avoiding bread and things with flour in it and all sorts of things, which probably I should be avoiding anyway, so that's that. Okay. No FOs. The last time I showed you the FO that was going off to my cousin for her big birthday, she has since received it and loved it, and that makes me very happy because one of the biggest ways that Yarn Equals Joy for me is to make things and gift them and have people feel really loved and nurtured and pampered by receiving them. So that's really nice. Okay, so a couple of whips have stories attached to them, and then I have 2 brand new whips to show you today. So let's just get started. So I don't think I showed this last time, but it is definitely growing. This is Helen Stewart Curious Handmaid's Dust of Snow wrap. Shawl wrap. It's really a rectangular wrap, which I have decided is really one of my favorite shapes, as you will see. I just love the way you stay with the same number of stitches so you can check yourself, and this has just turned into such a fun project. Again, as you can see behind me, and that's just a part of it, I have some stash, and so this is a great stash buster. I would highly recommend. I think it was designed with minis, but I have just used all sorts of stash, and then I've held it together with this Kid Silk Rowan Kid Silk Haze. I can't find the colorway, but I'm pretty sure it's something called Cherry. It's absolutely this gorgeous color, and what has happened is as it blends with all these other colors, it just, oh my goodness, this is the softest thing. Anyway, it's really, really fun, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun to wear. One of the things I love about this type of shawl is it's a great shawl to throw in a bag if you're traveling on an airplane, and certainly you can wear it in wintry climates, but it's also a really nice shape if you want to just put it around you when you're wearing things for summer. I don't know how I got this all tangled up. Let's see. Okay. So again, I'm holding it with these 2 strands, this speckly gorgeousness. I think this is spun right round if I'm correct, and then the beautiful bright mohair. So it is really turning into one of my all-time favorite projects, and I'm excited to do that. This is what gorgeous Helen Stewart looks like in hers, and as you can see, it's a very different look with a light strand of mohair going through. I will also say that she did some, fading of the colors, which I did not do, and I did not feel the need to fade the colors because the mohair really changed the color so substantially that to me the effect was very sort of connected throughout because of the mohair, and so I didn't feel that there was the need to fade. So that's what I'm doing. So that is whip number 1. Whip number 2 has also been on the needles for a long time. I've also shown it, but not for ages. This is the Salt Shawl by Sylvia McFadden. And as you can see, hopefully, let me see if I can move some of this stringy strings out of the way. It has a really, really amazing texture and pattern, which is done simply with a gorgeous pearl and knit pattern. It's so squishy and wonderful. As you can see, there's a huge color difference. So, doesn't bother me a bit because this is going to be for me and it's going to be just scrumptious and wrappy, but the skein I had was this Valentina. It's Malabrigo Rios and Valentina. When I ordered more to make this, they came in this really purplier color with less of the sort of whitish, which is what I really liked. I liked this light pale color. So I debated whether or not to use the skein I had that I really liked, and obviously I decided to use it. I will go back to, I have, you can see them together, they're really different, same color. This is a little shocking to me since this is not an indie dyer per se. I don't think you should be getting 2 colors named the same thing that look that different. However, as you saw, I have one of the darker ones to finish out. So they'll just be this sort of band in the middle that's sort of lighter, and you know what? Fine with that. I really want this to be huge, so I kind of needed to use that. Also, this says block aggressively, and because of the purl stitches, this really does sort of feel like it has a ton of give in it. So I'm excited to keep working on that. I don't work on it all the time, but when I do, I'm reminded how scrumptious it's gonna be. It's gonna be fun. Okay, last is the real old whip and the sob story. It is a Sunset Highway sweater, which everyone and their sister has made or seen, by the talented Caitlin Hunter of Boylan Knits. There it is. My sob story is that I didn't really know what I was doing when I started this, and I ordered from Madeline Tosh, who is a big dyer who dyes out of Texas, and I am in Texas. And she has gorgeous yarn. I know there's been some criticism lately of her politics on social media, and frankly, that is for you to decide. I had bought this a long time ago, and I'm not going to go into, you know, the sort of politics of where you spend your money. But having said that, what I am going to go into is the fact that this is their work sock base, and it at one point I think was labeled as a heavy fingering. I think it's even on this. Yes, even on this, it says heavy fingering sport weight. I don't think it says that anymore because it is really sport weight. I did not know what I was doing, as said, so I used this thinking it was just something I could substitute. Of course, I didn't do a gauge swatch because I didn't really know what I was doing, and this is only my second adult sweater. It's really pretty, but it's really bumpy. If you can see, it's really textured, and I have no idea. I've steam blocked it. I have no idea if it's gonna lie flat. At this point, I will wear it with the texture, and it will be a very unique Sunset Highway. But I do want to get it done. I am in Texas, so there's no rush, but I think it will be really pretty. I'm not going to probably do color on the sleeve. I might pull this like green with pinks and gorgeousness. I might do the ribbing on the cuffs of the sleeves in that. I'm thinking of doing that. But anyway, I think it will fit, but again, I have no idea how normal it's going to look after I block it. So I left it for a long time because I just annoyed myself looking at it and freaked out at how blumpy and glumpy it was. But I have come to the point now where I have decided that it is my Sunset Highway, and it may not look like everyone else's Sunset Highway, but it will be pretty cool, and yeah, I want to try that. Okay, so I told you I had 2 new whips, and I do, and there is a rationale behind both of them. Because I teach school, I have time in the summer to travel, and I know that I will be going to visit one friend, and I have heard recently that I may have an opportunity to go visit another friend, and what better thing to gift them with when I show up than a brand new handmade shawl. So I looked through Stash, and of course I have a lot of reds and oranges and pink, not reds, oranges and pinks and yellows and things like bright, bright, bright neons. Neither of these gals are really neon gals, and they're not like me with the oranges and pinks, which I can obviously not get enough of. But I do like Robin's Egg Blue a lot, and one of the gals is really into blue, and the other gal is really into blacks and grays, which I just don't think I can do a whole black and gray thing, but I found a little pop of kind of a limey green that I think would be gorgeous on her. So I pulled 2 different patterns. Both of them look like they are going to be fairly similar. Not fairly similar, sorry. Both of them look like they are going to be fairly straightforward, hopefully, in terms of patterns, because I do like my knitting to be relaxing. Well, I also like to be challenged and learn new things, but especially when school is on, it's really nice to come home and have projects that I can just pick up and watch podcasts and relax. So Helen Stewart's pattern is so much fun with the Dust of Snow shawl that I thought I would try another one of hers, and this one is called the Wick Shawl, and there is the lovely Helen Stewart with the pattern. As you can see, it's a basic, pretty basic triangular shawl with some fading and some different sections. And I've already pulled it out once, even though it's really well written. I just missed a stitch, and you can count because it starts with really small stitches on the needles. And I really, as I've said before, am not a big puller outer unless I really, really think that it is going to bug me. But this was so near the end, and it was bugging me. So anyway, you can see there are 2 colors there. Again, this is really amazing stash styling. And the third one, which is the darkest, kind of goes really nicely off of that. I don't seem I can get all of them quite together, but you can see how it'll, and I think that for my friend who really likes sort of neutrals and blues, I think this will be something she could wear as a shawl over a white shirt and jeans would be smashing, or some sort of white or light sundress. So I think it's going to be something she could really use in the summer. So I'm really excited about that and enjoying getting started. And then the next one, I also already ripped out for a completely different reason. I think I was doing it all right, but I had pulled 3 colors that were fairly similar, and I was not getting enough contrast, and the pattern is really cool, and I thought it was just going to get lost. So these are the 3 colors that I have pulled for that. And again, I know that when these 2 colors are together, it's probably not going to be a lot of contrast. But the problem was the green I had originally picked had like whole patches of kind of grays and blacks, and it just blended into everything else, and you really couldn't see. So I will show you kind of what I have so far on this one. This one is Goldfish Memory by Casa Pinka, and I'll show you. And it again is that rectangle, and it's just the very beginning, and you can see that the gray and the green are pretty subtle in terms of the striping, but I think that will be okay for this particular friend. I don't know that she would want something so bold. And that's the Casa Pinka shawl. So it has a lot of cool sections, which I think are going to be fun. I'm hoping that I'm not annoyed at myself as I get more into it, because I am someone probably on my own, I would really go for high contrast, and I think that would be lots of fun. But I think for this particular friend, it's probably okay that it may have a more subtle sort of shaded look, and I think she'll really love the colors, and hopefully I can get both of those done. We'll see. But as I've said before, I really am someone who likes knitting for other people. Okay, not that I don't like knitting for myself. Speaking of other people, it is time for the announcements of the sharing, I'm sorry, I have hiccups, the sharing the joy section. And then we have one last section, which is the stashing the joy, and I do have a few acquisitions today. So, oh wait, let me just talk first about the colors. So in the Goldfish Memory, the Casa Pinka, the green is actually Knit Style in her singles in the color Pretty Poison. The black and white is, I think it's Hedgehog in Magpie. And yes, Hedgehog in Magpie, as opposed to Magpie fibers in Hedgehog. Hedgehog fibers in Magpie, and Lichen and Lace in this gorgeous pewter. So those are the names of those, if anybody's interested. And then let me show you the colors for the other. This is I only have two written down. Oh, that's right. These are both Hugh Loco in Phyllis, and I think this is Hoarfrost and this is Harbor, or this is Harbor and this is Hoarfrost. Not sure, sorry. And then the other is actually Stranded Dye Works, Amy, with the amazing podcast and gorgeous yarn. And this is her single ply in Feathered. And as you saw, these are just amazing together, which really, if I can, tell everyone to go run to your stash and see what treasures you have there, it really is fun. We had a long weekend off from school, and it was very relaxed, and I didn't have a lot of responsibilities and didn't have grading, shockingly. So I really had fun playing with my stash and finding these, what I hope will be gorgeous presents for two beautiful ladies who are my friends. Okay, so back to the sharing the joy. Let me first say that I was enormously touched by the people who reached out and commented on my conversation about Sally's hat and Sally's loss, the loss of Sally, my dear friend. And you don't know me, I'm just someone in a room in Houston, Texas, talking about my love of yarn and knitting, and to have people just feel so moved to reach out and to let me know that that had meaning to them, really was just an incredible feeling for me, and reminded me of the positive power of social media and the internet and YouTube and all of that. So, as you recall, I had started this hat for Sally with this really fancy, gorgeous yarn from Woolfolk, and I am not going to be finishing it, so I'm sending it off. And there were several people who said they'd love to finish Sally's hat and wrote such nice things about honoring Sally, and I cut all those names up. There were not a lot. Again, this is the best odds on the net. I cut those names up, and Brenda Bloomfield, you are the winner, Brenda Bloomfield. So please contact me, Brenda, and hopefully give me your address, either probably like a DM me on Instagram at Rachely Book Girl, or Ravelry at Rach Lee, although I definitely check Instagram more often. And I will get this off to you, and hopefully you will enjoy knitting it and give it to someone who needs it or keep it for yourself. So thank you, Brenda. Thank you for your sweet words on the podcast. And then Cherry Freestone is the winner of this gorgeous springy dragon horde yarn that just screams, the sun is out, let's go play. It is dragon horde yarn on her fluffy sock base, and it's a very merry unbirthday. So I'm gonna get that off to you. Cherry Freestone, please do the same thing. DM me on Instagram, let me know your address, and then I can get that out to you. And Brenda, let me know your address and I'll get Sally's hat out to you. So thanks, that's awesome. Stashing the joy. Don't need to do it, but have done it, and there's some gorgeous stuff. So I was totally enabled by the Grocery Girls, who showed this Hue Loco mini set, Color Riot confectionery mini set, and it was just the prettiest thing I've ever seen, and I could not resist it. I tried hard, I just couldn't do it. So it had to be sent to me, and it got here really quickly. So there it is in its gloriousness. And I had ordered from the Yarn Jar this beautiful sock, striped sock in the color Kimono. And it is so much fun. And I do not knit a lot of socks, but I'm hoping that with the summer and some travel, I will cast some on and get some done, because I really wouldn't mind having a few more pairs, and I wouldn't mind getting better at it and being more comfortable with it. I've knit quite a few pairs, quite a few, probably 6, 7, 8 or something, given most of them away to my kids, but yeah, I wouldn't mind trying that again. So I have some gorgeous new stripy sock yarn. Okay, and then these two books. This one just came from Amazon. It's called Gradient Style. I saw it advertised in a magazine. As you can tell, I just love color, and this one has some really cool color work patterns, but not just color work, just sort of using color and gradients in interesting ways. And there was one sweater in particular that I thought was really pretty cool. Let's see if I can show you. It's this denim-y gorgeousness with the stripes. And then there was another, here's another shot of it. Really pretty, just mini stripes with like a gradient. And I liked this little sweater as well. Just again, playing with color, simple shape. It looks like it would be easy to wear. Probably would make it a little longer than that, but that looked fun. The other thing I ordered turned out to be incredibly timely. I had also seen this talked about on a podcast. I'm sorry, I don't remember which one. Maybe it was Christy Glass talking to the author. I think that's who it was. And it was I Knit Paris. And I love Paris. And this is a beautiful magazine that shows you La Bien-Aimée and other shops in Paris and just all sorts of things about Paris. But what was really interesting and poignant to me as I looked at this was that there is a shawl called the Notre Dame shawl, and that's it. And it is absolutely beautiful, and I'm going to read you a little bit about what it says, considering that this week we saw a horrible fire at that iconic cathedral. The Cathedral of Notre Dame on the Ile de la Cité in the center of Paris was built between 1163 and 1345. This awe-inspiring monument, mainly in the Gothic style, is a symbol of both medieval Paris and the Paris we know today, creating a bond across time and bearing testimony to the history of the city. This monument has always inspired creativity, be it in writing, painting, or film. Knitting is no exception. The striking design of the south rose window, the cathedral's largest, given to the people by King Saint Louis, also known as Louis IX, inspired this design. It is knit in the round, traditional pie shawl construction. It looks really hard, but for anybody who's looking for a way to keep Notre Dame in your thoughts and prayers, and really to pay tribute to this gorgeous building, what better way than this absolutely striking shawl. So anyway, that's all I've got. I thought you might be interested in those things. I thank you so much for watching and for allowing me to share what I love with you. Go enjoy your knitting, enjoy the people you love, and remember, yarn equals joy. Bye.